This looks like the main organizations that you're going to is Texas Spirits
Mm-hmm.
and of course the Santa Clara as well. Is that
Yes.
right? Okay, great and great. And
Also, I don't know if you, there's one more that's pretty important to me. It's called the Undergraduate Business Council.
oh yeah, yeah, that's right then.
Yeah, so it's abbreviated UBC. So, but that one is pretty big too because I'm actually on the officer board for that one.
Oh, you are? Okay. Oh, wow. Got your hands full. And now, since your time with Santa Clara, you've decided to move on. Is there anything that's going to fill that up, or are you just going to focus on school more? You get an upper division, I'm guessing.
So I'm going to be doing a summer internship
Oh,
in
okay.
Dallas.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, what's the summer internship, if you don't, what was that?
So it's a management consulting internship with it's a company called Accenture, and I'll be working in the Dallas office.
Oh, Extenture. I think I've,
Accenture, Accenture.
yeah. What are they known for again? I've heard of them.
Management consulting.
Management consult. Okay, okay, great and great.
Yeah.
All right. And now, what's your emphasis in? That is your major and such.
Right. So I'm a business major, but my emphasis is management information systems.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like tech plus business. I learned how to code some, but it's not as intense as computer science.
Oh, okay.
But it's still very business based.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm
Great.
also in the business honors program, so that's like
Mm-hmm.
where a lot of my business curriculum comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And then the MIS part of it is just like I get to take classes like web development, database management, stuff like that.
Oh, wow. I call those the boring ones, but definitely much needed. That's
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. What database are you working on?
So I
SQL.
took a course on database management that was working with like SQL
Okay.
databases, and we learned SQL and stuff like that. But it's all very, the thing about MIS is it's all kind of, you learn a lot, but you learn a lot on the surface, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. So
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, that's kind of like the difference that separates it from like actual coding development and like software engineering versus like MIS is like we don't really learn that deep into it. It's just a lot of the high level concepts that help with like other business aspects.
But with that, let's continue on here. What have you learned from Santa Clara, like say from your rookie year, and how do you see it applying to your business management? And so,
Right. Wow, where to start? I feel like drum corps is really important and really
hmm
meaningful
hmm
in a lot of different ways, but I guess the biggest way that I've seen it affect me is even just through my rookie year. So my rookie year, I was only 17 years old,
hmm
which is like a pretty critical time in someone's life, I feel like, because I was
hmm
just really getting a chance to figure out who I was. And I kind of went into this thing. I didn't really know what I was getting into doing drum corps. And I was 17, surrounded by all these older people, and
yeah.
they're all strangers, and I spent the entire summer with them. So it was really eye-opening.
hmm
I feel like I just learned a lot about who I was as a person, and it really molded me into the person I am today.
hmm
Um, I mean, it's hard to explain exactly everything that you learn through drum corps because so much of it is not really teachable. It's just kind of you pick it up along the way.
hmm
But I guess it's just things about like I don't know, how to be just a better person and how to interact with people better.
hmm
And especially in a place like drum corps where you're surrounded by so many people from different backgrounds and different walks of life, it's really refreshing to be able to learn new perspectives that way
hmm
because like there are people from like Japan
Yes.
who
Yes.
who don't even go to school while they're doing drum corps so that they can work and make money so
hmm
that they can pay for drum corps, which is like a totally different philosophy than like what we do.
hmm
And then there's also the people that like are really amazing people that major in music, and being not a music major is very
hmm
different for me. And it was really nice because in the business school, at least at UT, it's always very intense. And it can get kind of overwhelming because everyone is so business minded and so career
hmm
focused.
hmm
And so going into the summer where people are just a lot more laid back and worry about such different issues, it's really nice. But I guess how it's affected me personally and professionally, I really feel like I just have grown into myself a lot more comfortably.
hmm
Because I feel like when I was surrounded by so many people that were older than me and different than me, I was able to realize so quickly that everyone is so different and no one has to apologize for it.
Hmm.
if that makes sense. So it just was
Oh,
really
okay.
easy for me to become my own person
Yeah.
and not be afraid of it.
Okay. Now, what was one of the like the first things that you noticed going, oh wow, this is not just me and my bubble in Texas. This is me, surrounded by people from California or from the East Coast.
Right.
Like, what were some of the like the I would say like culture. I don't want to say culture shock per se because it is, it's an American based core. But what was one of the things that kind of says, wow, this is something that's
I
very.
guess, yeah, one of the first things, I guess, so when I was a rookie, the whole front ensemble was actually pretty old. It was like on the older side. Everyone was probably at least 20, I want to say, like 19 or
Mm,
20 years old, but we had five age outs, which were 21 to 22 years old. So I think one of the first things I realized was just how young I was because it was very obvious. But because of that, I really was able to just kind of take a step back and observe everything because I didn't want to speak out. I didn't want to like not be in
oh.
place, you know? So
Hmm.
it was really eye opening just to be able to sit back and observe. And I was taken aback by just how incredibly smart everyone was,
Mm.
especially in the Vanguard pit. Most of the time, they're usually all music majors. So it was just really awesome to like find these people that actually appreciated music for what it was and be so knowledgeable about what's happening in like the whole structure of what we were playing as far as like music theory and like all the the harmonics and all that stuff that goes into it because I had no idea really about that stuff going into it.
Hmm.
So it was really awesome just being able to like be with people that were so knowledgeable because I feel like I was able to soak up a lot of it even
Mm.
though I'm not a music major and I still don't know anything really about music theory, but I was able to learn so much in that one summer alone.
Oh wow! So in
Stuff,
2015,
yeah,
yeah.
stuff like that. But then also along with that, just the way that people think, because uh, obviously I spent most time with the pit and then the percussion section and then the horn line. But people in the horn line really do think so differently because percussionists think differently, I think, and it's just nice to see different types of personalities from different coasts and I don't know. It was just a lot of fun the first year.
Mm-hmm. Now I know that you heard about the knowledge. I believe Benji Baker was your was it section leader? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
it's my
Okay.
section leader my rookie year.
Great. Now, like, what are some of the things that hey, you made the cut, you made the core. What were some things that either he explained or the vibe captain mentioned to you that was like really just eye opening that made you think, oh wow, this is the reason why the front ensemble is where they're at. I know
Yeah.
you, but I mean, any specifics that you'd be possible to share? I know we're going back about 4 or 5 years, 2015, but
No, I remember everything. So my Benji was the pit section leader, but then my rookie year, the vibe section leader, his name was Alex Mendoza.
Alex, yes, yes.
They were both really good friends, so it was really nice being in that whole dynamic. So I guess what I did realize is like um, just how detailed everyone is about their own parts because in the pit at least it is true that we all do have completely different parts, which is really awesome the way that Sandy writes. So every person, it's not just like in a lot of different pits you'll see that like the marimbas all have the same book and then
Mm-hmm.
the vibes all have the same book and everyone plays the same thing. But in the Vanguard pit it's like every instrument has a different part and they all fit together. So I guess one of the most important things I learned was how to first like how to be aware of that and then like listen so that I would fit my sound into everyone around me.
Mm-hmm.
They really did a good job of like focus or like making sure to emphasize that like every part is important, but not only is your part important, but the person next to you. So you have to basically learn everyone else's parts and how you fit into it in order to balance it right. And then also just that I just like I guess coming into drum corps, I thought that maybe since it's like a group activity that like the little details didn't matter as much. But then like going into the summer, it was like totally not that way. Like
Mm-hmm.
every part is so important, and the section leaders do a really good job of like focusing and breaking it down into like small little chunks and really bringing out every detail of it, so that like I think that's kind of what puts us apart is like how much detail we spend on each part and each person rather than like I mean yes we focus on the whole sound but it's just there's so much attention to detail that goes into it and so I think
Mm-hmm.
that was like part of it.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Benji Benji did a really good job of kind of bringing us all together.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember. I don't know if you saw that post I posted over the summer because we always have a pit circle before every show.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, and I remember my rookie year, he would always say, "Play for each other," and I loved that. I loved hearing that every time, and I said it all the time when I was also section leader in the circle because I feel like it reminds you that this is a group activity and it's about everyone in that circle, not just about you. So, in the way that they do focus on every detail, and they expect you to have all of your own music figured out to such a high expectation, it's also such an important group activity, and you have to realize that it's everyone together that does it that I remember the most, I think.
Tell me about the changes in your text while on tour.
Over the summer, as the summer progresses, our ears, like within the pit, like they grow so much more refined because we get so, first of all, we get so used to hearing the music over and over, like so often every single day, every second. So our ears get so attuned to it that we know exactly like what is different and stuff like that, what needs to be fixed. But at the same time, that can also work against us because we are so refined that nothing ever really sounds great. So that's where the tech really has a larger role to play in that situation because they switch out about every 2 weeks, and so that's we can always tell like towards the end of the 2 weeks is like we're not doing as many changes because they're about to leave, and also because they have been with us this whole 2 weeks, and it's kind of they're in the same boat as us. Like their ears are attuned to what they've been hearing, and it almost seems like there's not anything more that we can fix. But then that's like when the next person comes in, has fresh ears, and is able to hear in a totally different perspective, and then we continue to clean.
Oh, I always wondered about that because I looked at all these texts. It's like, wait, I would see you at the Stanford show. Then all of a sudden I would see like the San Antonio tape going, that guy did he change his shirt or something? But now I know why. It's because you always want fresh ears out of there. So, okay,
Yeah.
that makes total sense.
So we always switch out text.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they switch out. They do have full percussion about every 2 weeks, which is really nice.
So tell me, what's Sandy like as an instructor during your rookie year, and also now you were her right hand person when you're on tour. So what did you learn from her?
Wait, to who?
What did you learn from Sandy? Sandy Rennick.
Oh,
What did you learn
Sandy.
from being
Oh,
a rookie, and all of a sudden, boom, you're her right hand person on tour. So.
right, yeah. That's been a lot of fun going through because when I was a rookie, I feel like I was much quieter. I didn't speak out as much because I didn't want to like overstep any boundaries or anything. So it's been really nice just being able to grow in that relationship with both Sandy and Paul, because I do feel like when I was section leader last year, at least, like Paul, he would always come to me for for my opinion, or for like if he needed something to get done, or if he needed like information from the pit or from the battery. It was just like always a good line of communication. And so I guess with Sandy as well, we don't see as much of her on tour, but it's just been really great getting to know her and watching the kids grow, because usually whenever we see her, she'll bring the kids with her. And I love seeing them, and they're really fun.
It's so great to be able to see him grow
Yeah.
year after year. It's like, oh,
It is
wow.
crazy. It's really fun. And so I guess the biggest thing I've learned from her is just like how she tends to write music, and I just love the way that she does write, and the way that she arranges. I think it's totally, I don't know how to explain it. It's just beautiful. I think that she's a genius in that aspect, and she puts a lot of little embellishments and little like Easter eggs within the things that she arranges. So like I remember there was a part, I guess it was in the 2017 show. There was like, I don't remember what section, but there's a section of the show that takes a lot of inspiration from like this one popular marimba solo, Yellow After the Rain, and it's like, oh, that's the section that has that. Or like,
okay.
I remember in 15 when she did the Bach Invention intro, that was really well written. I loved the cascading 16th or sextuplets that came down, and then a lot of what she'll do is she'll tend to reference parts of what she's already written in another section or another movement of the show, and I love the way that she ties everything together. So I've really grown a deeper appreciation for the way that she arranges music, and that goes for Paul as well.
Okay, got it. And what parts or what things has Paul? You said he's come up to you and asked for your opinion. What are some of the questions that he comes up to you and asks for your input?
It really ranges from like anything. It could be like the way that, I mean, a lot of it will be like logistical things, like how, like what's the easiest way for the pit to get here at this time, or like what do you want to do about like uh, this warm up, or like can we find somewhere to do percussion ensemble over here, stuff like that.
Mm.
Because usually I'll be the one to go scope out a good zone that will fit the entire percussion section if we want to do percussion ensemble before a show, or it'll just be things like when we're doing percussion ensemble, he'll always have the score with him, and he'll always be making edits, and he'll ask for things like, oh, where can we put like this cymbal crash in, and like we'll have to work through, because I'm in the center of the pit, so I'll always be like the one to talk to, and we'll talk about like how we can distribute like the parts, or like how we can incorporate some kind of what is it, like an effect cymbal sound or anything like that, and how we can distribute that among the different players as far as like who has what part at what time, things like that. But a lot of it was logistics, like I said. Yeah, stuff like that, I guess.
And you're saying that Paul has a form or he has a score with him? Is that what you mentioned? Or
Yeah, he has a score, a percussion score, so he always knows what is written and what's not, so he knows what he needs to add.
okay. Now, does he use an iPad or so? Does he have a laptop or?
Paper.
Oh, okay, that's right. All right. Yeah, scraps of paper and
It's
such.
like a printed score, and then he just has a red pen and goes over it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Now I heard that he's really is big in the pens. Does he bring his really good pens on tour and stuff, or does he just? I guess that red pen is just a regular pen that
Yeah,
he.
I don't know if he brings good pens, but I know that he always has a pen. He always has his backpack, and he has multiple pens in there. Usually it's red.
Okay, okay, got it. And so, and, by the way, really great comment as well. I remember there was transitioning going from the pit intro. This is in 2018, big pit intro, and all of a sudden when the big clash happens, when everything comes together, I believe you were on the bell of a cymbal, and you were just going for these 16th notes, and it really just clanged through, and it was really sharp as well. Yeah, at the same time, I believe you had to listen back to the horns for that, or back to the, I would say listen to percussion, but the horns were so loud, I'm not sure if you could hear them. But
Yeah.
do you know which part? Talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the
I know what you're talking about. That part was difficult because, because I didn't really have a lot to go off of, because that's right when the horns come in. So what I would listen for is there's like a transition, like you said, and there's a battery fill, but basically, like I think it was a quarter note before I come in, the snares play a shot, and that's how I know when to come in on the next beat, and then I just have to go with the tempo that I hear from the battery, and it usually matches up with the horns.
oh, okay, great, yeah,
Yeah,
because it
so
was.
it took a little while to figure out how to line that up, because I think they had to add in the fill. Like I don't think there was there wasn't like anything that I could go off of before, and so it was kind of like a process throughout the summer that we had to figure out what I could listen to.
Yeah, that was scary because not a lot of people see that, but I remember I was playing the tambourine solo for Fiddle on the Roof, and a lot of times I was listening back to the soloist, but then the soloist would change down the field, and then
Yeah,
I would just have to slow down the tempo. But then I saw you doing your thing. It says, "Hey, wait a second, what's going on here? How is?" But it's great that you're able to. Okay, he actually wrote a battery part for you to latch into and be able to see. Now, I was also speaking to someone. It was interesting because some instruments are behind. For example, like tambourine, that's way delayed.
yeah,
Yet, I'm guessing with a triangle, and I believe the bell, it's like the higher pitch it is, the more of a beam. Like there's just no delay to it. So I believe that
yeah,
helped out as well. So,
yeah. It was
awesome.
a really loud zildo, so
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, I had to really
Now,
notch that one up.
yeah. Now, were you playing at full force, or were you just playing it at the forte level, or was it just a natural?
I would probably say it wasn't full force, because otherwise I don't think anyone in front of me in the pit would be able to hear. Because yeah, it's a really loud. I wore earplugs, so it was okay for me.
Mhm.
But I'd say it was like a strong forte.
Okay,
Oh,
gotcha.
of course.
Yeah, because it was cutting through, and I remember hearing all the recordings here.
Yeah,
Whether it
yeah,
be recordings, of course, the official DCI, or if it's recordings from people in their little iPhone cameras. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
every time that was, it was just
It's
because.
really a sound that cuts. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because also from there, your woods they would listen into, and they're playing off their 16th notes right after yours. So it's really great that you were the lock them on in there. So that was just one of the things there I wanted to give you a props. I've always wondered about that, saying, is it as complicated as I think it is? And be able to see
It
that.
was pretty complicated, but it got much easier throughout the
Yes,
summer.
yes. So it's great to see. Now, what other parts like say, of the 2018 show that were a little bit interesting that had to do like Paul had to like write a battery report, or were there anything throughout the show that had to make any major changes, such as the bell part for you to line up with the horns? Anything
Um,
that?
I want to say there were. It's kind of hard to remember now. Um, there were a lot of different issues that we faced, like with club sound, especially because club sound is like the electronic one where the whole core is dancing behind us. The entire percussion feature. So the battery parts got rewritten a couple different times just because of the way that I think because of the places, the location that we're on the field, they had to get altered for that. But that was difficult at some points because at least the vibe line was all playing on DTXs, which we were playing electronic sounds while the marimbas were playing on the marimba, and then we had to match up with the battery behind us.
Oh,
And
wow.
then, yeah, and then also Will on the synthesizer was also playing a lot of electronic sounds. So it was difficult just to like make sure all of that lined up.
Now, when you're in your DTXs, just let the viewers know, those are they're like the drum machines or the samplers.
Yeah, the square things. They're like on the edge of our keyboards, and we have our own like monitor to hear ourselves. So yeah.
And now, your sound, they would come through stereo, left and right, up to the box. Is that my understanding? Or for that part?
Depends. So
Okay.
the sound was. It depends on the sounds. They're mixed different ways.
Mhm.
So some of them would come out on only one side versus maybe someone else's DTX pad would come out on the other side, or it depends on the sound that we wanted. So it varies.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because I'm thinking for that club scene, I think that was side B. So I'm guessing, well, I guess depending on how the sound moves, they'll put you over to the side A or side B speakers. So I hear what you're saying, the club sound, because it's so integrated with what you're doing on the DTXs. It's so easy for for the parts to just kind of waver
Yeah, exactly.
across.
It was, yeah. So that was a little weird, but really it was just a matter of like sticking with the battery because they're kind of like on the other side of the field, and at one point they would also be moving backwards.
Oh,
So we had to. There were some parts where we intentionally have to slow down a little bit because they're moving further away.
Got it.
It's like that we all kind of had to just figure out throughout the summer.
Gotcha. Now, have you thought about getting some, maybe that you, or have you heard talks about having some sort of in-ear monitor? So maybe there's some sort of click track that goes on. I mean, I know that's fairly new. I think Blue Coats had their entire front ensemble, but they weren't doing click tracks. I asked the sound, they were
Listening
just.
to the drum set, I think.
I'm sorry.
They were listening to the drum set player.
Yeah. So,
But no, I don't know. We've talked about it before, but I don't think it's very feasible for us, just because there's such an important, I guess, what is the word? It's just like so important for us to be able to actually hear the people around us that I feel like if there were anything in our ears, it'd be too hard to distinguish. If that makes sense.
yeah,
Because
it's like
I think what's wrong with those earpieces, and you can't really hear anyone.
yeah, I hear you. Yeah, and it's like another thing to listen into. So
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying then. So now I remember Santa Clara, they had some situations here in 2017, 2018. I heard there was also like I think one of the soloists mics were getting kind of interesting here, but I hear that they just had to restart everything, or just had to like restart until I mean, it still sounded awesome. Because
Yeah, I think in 2017 when we had the small ensemble, the brass small
mm-hmm,
ensemble, they had earpieces to where they could hear each other
mm-hmm,
because they had to play with each other while they were on completely different sides of the field.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, that is risky because if anything does go wrong, you can't hear anyone.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there anything, off the top of your head that you want to be able to help one out, or are there friends of yours that from your high school that you're helping the groom, or they're asking for input from you for, to make the cut for Santa Clara, or?
So actually, I don't know if you knew, but I'm actually not aged out yet. So
Oh
this
yeah, yeah.
summer,
One more year.
yeah. This next summer, I'm really sad about it because I definitely would march again if I could, but I feel like this is kind of the only chance that I have to do a summer internship before
Mm-hmm.
I have to start working full time, and so
Mm-hmm.
it's just bad timing. But
No,
so I
perfect time. No, you're good, you're good.
yeah, hopefully it'll be fun. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess because I'm not actually aged out yet, that kind of limits me on what I am able to do because
Mm-hmm.
they don't let you come back and volunteer until you're, I think, one or
Oh,
2 years aged out.
okay.
And that goes the same for anything related to going back to volunteer or anything like that. So I guess this summer I just want to be a really good pit alumni at least, and like send the pit a bunch of care packages, stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
or just all of my friends that are in the percussion section. Um, Other than that, I guess this summer I'm trying to go to as many shows as I can. I want to try to go to Stanford.
Oh
I'm
wow.
going to definitely go to as many Texas shows as I can because I'll be in Dallas. It'll be pretty easy. And then I'm hoping to go to finals week as well.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, hoping to do all those. It's a lot, but yeah, I'm just really excited to be a good support member this year. And then in future years, I hope to stay involved with the activity. I don't really know how yet. I don't think I would see myself teaching
Mm-hmm.
because I just feel like I will be kind of far removed from it. I don't know if I'm still going to be qualified enough, but I'd love to just be involved in some way, whether it be like volunteering on a food truck or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, food truck is so great. I mean, even though, like I said, I'm not one of the performers or players, I don't really see you play or perform. It's just great just to see it. It's just great just to be able to be surrounded by people who love Santa Clara so much. And it's just, it
Yeah,
was pretty awesome there. So, yeah, you can have a great time when you volunteer for the food truck as well. So, yeah,
yeah.
it's gonna be a
Oh,
great
and then
time.
also I forgot. There's a guy from my high school who did go to the audition camp this year, and so I went back to my high school a couple times this past semester to give him a couple lessons, to go audition and stuff. And he's really great. He's just very young, and I think the time will help him, and that's why I'm really glad that he went so early to a camp because he got to like see what it was like and kind of
Mm-hmm.
experience it. So hopefully he goes back and auditions and continues to get better. So
Oh, okay,
yeah,
great.
that's been really fun too.
Yeah, I think that's similar to your stuff. You tried it in 2014. You learned and
Yeah,
then you worked on it here. Now, I
right.
think I
It's
asked you,
really
yeah, and I think I asked you before here, back when at the New Year's Eve, I'm sorry, the New Year's Day parade
uh-huh.
over here. But one thought, what did you work on then? And so, what did you focus on? So, boom, auditions came a year later, and you got the part. So.
I focused a lot on, I guess, what did I do? I focused a lot on timing because that's important. So everything I played was with a metronome when I practiced. I focused a lot on sound quality because then after I went to one camp, I was more aware of like the expectations and kind of the technique and style that they play with. So I focused on just like staying relaxed and being better at, well, first of all, Burton grip also because I
Mm.
had just learned that really in high school. So I got better at Burton grip. Um, I focused on sound quality and the technique a little bit more because my technique was a little bit weird coming in because I was so young. And then what else? A lot of it was just being more familiar with the exercises as well, just so I knew it was coming, and also being aware of just different variations that they would be able to call, so that I knew and was able to think a little quicker on my feet if they called them.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And how would they change those exercises? Would they just go up half a step, or I'm guessing
Oh
they just
no,
do.
it's all random. I
Oh,
mean, it's like yeah, it's
okay.
like play forwards, backwards, or play it in like a specific key or like a different mode, or in the circle of four, circle of fifths, stuff like that. I don't
Mm,
know.
okay, okay. And it got you, so you didn't really focus on the method book per se. You just focus on
No,
what they.
yeah,
Okay.
I just had to widen my brain perspective, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It was yeah,
Gotcha.
it was fun.
Yeah. And now in high school, you were with you were with someone that marched with the Renix per se. And
Yes,
how did that?
my profession.
Yeah. And
Go for it.
were you also doing woods or were you doing medals or?
No, so in high school, I was in the pit for 1 year, my freshman year. I played vibes, and then all throughout high school, I played snare drum.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So
wow.
I was only in the pit for 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh, I
and
see
then
then.
for drum corps, I decided to go back to the pit just because it was, I don't know, I was just more familiar with it, and I knew I was very short. I still am, and
Hmm.
so marching on the field was definitely very hard for me, even in high school, just because I had to carry a drum, and it was like, I don't know, it was just like more difficult because I have very short legs. So
Hmm.
I decided to go back to the pit and drum corps, just because, yeah.
Okay, I got you. So on your first year, did you try out for snare or
I
did you?
did, yeah.
Oh,
So
you did.
I was on the snare line my freshman year for like a week, but then they decided that we couldn't have that many snare drums. I think we were only able to have five as to not overpower the band, but I
Hmm.
was the sixth one because I was a freshman.
Hmm.
So then they put me into the pit.
Okay.
But then, yeah.
Okay.
But I loved it. It was great.
Okay. And then when you tried the first Santa Clara, the first year in 2014, that was on Vibes though. Is that my understanding?
Oh, yeah. So that was kind of a general pit audition, and I just kind of auditioned in general because they move you around.
Hmm.
And at that point, I knew I was so young, and I knew that my hands were not as developed, and so I wasn't really trying for a specific instrument. So I did end up playing vibes most of the time, but I went back and forth on vibes and marimba just
Okay.
because the different techniques.
Back to the University of Texas. Just want to, what was the other organization that you mentioned? Not the
Undergraduate Business Council.
yeah, yeah. So, want to tell me more about your role or how's was like were you responsible for getting the Google CFO on?
A little bit. So
Okay.
my role in UBC is I'm the communications director,
Mm-hmm.
which means that I am I kind of oversee all of our media, like promotions, all of our social media and our website, and like all of I help to initiate all of like the promotional materials that we push out, whether it be like graphics. We put up a lot of posters
Mm-hmm.
up in the business school about our events and stuff. And I'm in charge of kind of communicating all of that and what we do out to the rest of the school. Um, so there's a lot of different things that I do for that, but what else? I don't know. On the exec board, there's 9 of us total, so we all kind of overlap in different ways as far as sharing the work. But a lot of it is just like creating a good experience for our members. But our main goal is just to provide the entire business school students with resources, whether it be like academic resources and like different events that can help you network with certain companies, or things like the Google CFO VIP, to where people can just come and listen and gain new perspectives. So we put on a lot of different events, kind of like along those lines, that are either career oriented, academically oriented, or just life oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my role is kind of varied because I do so many different things, but along with my entire exec board. But it's been a really good college experience because I do get to be like a mentor and like a role model figure for younger people,
Mm-hmm.
because now I'm an upperclassman, and the exec board chooses the entire freshman class that comes into the organization. So it's been really nice getting to know everyone like that
Mm.
are younger.
Okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
I hear you. And do you have any project or you have anything that's coming up for UBC? Are they going to be inviting another, like say someone from Instagram or someone from Facebook on by to speak? Maybe not Mark Zuckerberg, but
So this semester, I think we'll be bringing it's one of the C-suites. I don't remember which one. of Bank of America,
Mm.
and then this past semester we brought the CEO of the Frost Bank.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year also, I don't know if you saw this one, we brought the CEO of the Walt Disney Company, Bob Iger.
Oh
That was
yeah.
that was our biggest event to date.
Oh
It was
yeah,
super.
yeah. I remember that. I remember it's like, oh hey, can you ask him this question? But I'm sure that everyone had all these questions
It
here.
was a huge line for questions, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, those are some of the ones that we've had. I can't remember quite all the ones that we have coming up, but we have a couple. We have a couple more. Oh, I think there's one of we have someone coming from CBS, like the broadcasting
Oh really?
station. Uh
Oh,
huh.
is oh,
The
oh
TV station.
okay. Not the local, but the national level, or
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
okay, yeah, yeah. I think is that where Moonves was at? I think it was CBS and such. So I'll have to check on that. But I know there's a big executive. He might have been ABC and such. But regardless, though, they're all just kind of they're all like one. They're all just kind of I say all colleagues for lack of a better word and
Yeah.
such. So yeah, I'll have to look into that because yeah, your talks are like wow. Is that I remember looking for was it Eisner and trying to look for what he was saying because
Yeah.
he was yeah, I think I mentioned before. My apologies for saying this, but he was the one that actually saved Pixar from going because the other guy here, he was well from Walt Disney. He was pretty good, but Steve Jobs had to kind of was the go between was it Pixar and such. But yeah, you're saying yeah he did the current CEO definitely did a great job there for
Right.
that. So
Yeah.
yeah, great job on bringing the CEO from Walt Disney there. So how did that work out? I mean, you don't have to give me any contacts or any details, but I'm thinking, wow. I mean, I guess did the alumni have a pretty big contact there, or did you?
We
Somebody?
had we had a contact somewhere. I think it was within the communication school, because they're more in the media scene.
Mm,
So I think
mm,
they were able to get a contact for us, and then yeah, it was awesome. He came and we filled up an entire auditorium.
yeah.
I'm trying to look for the video because I'm sure it should be online somewhere. So I can send you the link.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely like to see his perspective because I only see I only see like the tail end between the two CEOs here, and
yeah,
I would definitely like to see his full story or at least where he's at as of
yeah.
last year. So
Yeah, I'll
yeah,
look for it
okay,
online. I'm sure it should be there, and then I can send you the link.
wow,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, that's and also also with Austin the big SWSX Twitter was down there. Were you? I think it was Twitter was I forgot what year it was pushed through. Were you in that area when Twitter was pushed through or SWSX? Did you realize that's how big of a thing? Honestly, I didn't really realize how big it was until boom,
yeah,
until it blew
yeah.
up.
People call it South by Southwest,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's pretty big. I actually haven't been super involved in it in past years, just because it is really, it's like pretty hard to navigate. I feel like
Hmm.
because it does happen across the entire city, so it's kind of hard to figure out like how to get there, where because everything, all the events happen in different places, and they're
Hmm.
not at like a scheduled time. It's just like I don't know. It's kind of hard to navigate. But no, I don't think I was. I don't think I was there for the Twitter push out. But
Hmm.
it's a really big event every year, and it's really cool. I'm thinking about going this year. So
Yeah, yeah, I was thinking that
because it's a
too.
really big music festival and
Hmm.
movie film festival and
Hmm.
interactive media festival.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I see some great stuff happening from Austin, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
some
for
great
sure.
stuff. Now, are you also still with your record label and such, or?
Yes. So
Uh-huh.
I that's just another student org that I work with. It's just like a student run record label. We just we have meetings where we connect other student artists with people that might know how to produce the music. It really just is a place for people to have access to other resources. And then also within our meetings, we bring in guest speakers that are from the industry, whether it be from around Austin or anywhere really. So we have people coming from companies like C3 Presents, which is based in Austin, and they're the company that puts on festivals like ACL or Lollapalooza, some of the really big music festivals in the country.
Hmm.
So people like that. We had a guest speaker from South by Southwest come in,
Hmm.
and they just kind of talk about their experience and how they got to where they are, or if they have any advice for other young artists and stuff like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Oh, great, great. And going back over to your Santa Clara roots again. After Benji, you had Patty. I forgot her name.
Paige.
Um,
Paige.
oh, I'm sorry, Paige Dudecker. I think is
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
you mentioned how Benji was able to bring the pit together, how detailed it was. With Paige, what did you learn from her as a leader? So,
With Paige, I learned a lot as well. She was always really calm, cool, collected. She was always really like the voice of reason. So that was really great. And she was just a lot of fun to be with. And she really just was very grounded. So she was a very solid section leader. And then after that, it was Michael. Michael was great because he was always really good at hearing the music and listening within the pit and then knowing exactly what to fix. And so he was really good always at like running sectionals or knowing what we should work on if we didn't have a tech for the day. So he was just a really good leader in general. But yeah, they all kind of bring something different. And so I made sure to kind of draw from all those experiences to create myself as a better section leader.
mm-hmm. Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
that I knew how to, yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, that's amazing that Mike, that he's actually focusing on his own parts. Yeah, at the same time, he's able to
Yeah,
listen
it was awesome.
across. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
He was a
now,
little girl.
how are your ears? Because you have was it Marissa or is it Trevor next to you, or I'm not exactly sure. And how are you able to train your ears so you can listen across from those, or if you're able to listen to, maybe not you get Ashley right in front of you, but how are you able to listen to Caleb? His attempt, you can definitely hear him. But how are you able to listen to the marimba, if that's even possible? Because that's, there's so
Yeah,
much
it
music.
really varies. Usually I can only hear the two marimbas that are in front of me, which was Tyler and Ashley. And then I can hear Trevor, obviously, because he's right next to me. And then I can hear the other vibes that are down on my side of the line. It really was hard for me to hear past Trevor because he's so loud in the middle. But
Yeah.
instead of just being able to hear him, me and Marissa were able to just like visually communicate most of the time.
Oh, okay. I get you then.
So we would look at each other and like prep together, stuff like that. And then the marimbas would also listen back to us. So it's kind of just like a cycle. It kind of changes like who we listen to throughout the whole show.
Yeah, I get you. And particularly, you're right. All of your parts are intertwined and such.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
okay. Great.
Yeah.
All right. And so I think with this, I think I have enough material to actually do like a mini series or something. A lot of good
Great.
stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll get some of the footage that you've mentioned about the past years. I'll try and look for those Easter eggs, but you're right though; those are pretty pretty well deep. Now you make me want to listen to the Marimba cams or the Vibe cams and such and see
Yeah.
what's going on with that. So, all right, and so I'm looking forward to your other projects and such, and
Yeah,
all
for
those
sure.
good things here. It's great to be able to see you, moving on over, because I've heard of there are some people that wish they'd have gotten like another year or done their age out year. Yeah, I've also heard times when people they focus too much on drum corps, and all of a sudden it's there's a bit of a tough transition after
Right.
they
Yeah.
after the age on out. So yeah, you definitely are. I think the decision that you're having with Accenture is actually pretty good as well. So
Yeah. I'm
yeah,
excited.
yeah. And now, are you still interested in an internship with Instagram or? I know
No,
that was.
not with Instagram. Just no. I do side projects here and there, but no other internship. I work at McCombs, which is the business school, at the IT support desk. But that's basically it.
Oh, really? You too then? That's cool.
Yeah,
So
I work part time.
I see. So in case there's an issue with the machines, I'll give you a call
Yeah,
or do the
yeah.
walk. Yeah, that's what I'm doing as well here. So yeah, up at the hospital, it gets really interesting, particularly around. I mean, you probably don't have this situation here, but in the emergency rooms or in hospitals, full moons definitely have a really interesting effect there. So
Interesting. Yeah, that is cool.
yeah. But anyways, all right then. Well, hey, thanks so much.
Yeah,
I'll put
thank
something
you.
together for you. All right.
Cool.
Thanks
Sounds
again,
good.
Sarah. All right.
Bye.
Take
Happy
care.
New Year.
Same to you. Bye now.